I cannot tell you how touched and deeply moved I am to see such a wonderful group, a gathering of people who respected Joe, who turned to Joe, my brother, for guidance, looked to him for leadership, and honored him. And for that I am grateful. I am grateful for this gathering. I am grateful to the distinguished speakers who join us today, who have given of their time and their commitment to honor my brother. I'm grateful to Keith Drake and to Amber Verbalin, who orchestrated this whole affair, with some assistance from my good friend from Houston, Gene Gunderson. They put their minds and their creativity together, and they have given us a wonderful place to come and to cherish his memories and share his thoughts. You had an opportunity to have Joe in his life for all of his adult time, and in fact, so you have had more of Joe in your life than I had in mine, but I think I can tell the beginning stories, and I can put some twist on things, and forgive me, Joe, but it will be my twist and my interpretation. I can pretty much tell you when Joe began his interest in government. He was 6 years old, and our mother dressed him in a George Washington period attire clothing. He held a hatchet, and he stood by the cherry tree in Harrisonburg, and it was captioned in the paper. And he was proud of that, and he kept that newspaper cutting. His interest was heightened and aroused even further when in high school he was nominated to attend Boys State. This was an honor, and this is where he began to understand the concepts and principles of citizenship and government, from the county, the city, the state, to national politics. And he treasured those memories, and he embraced those memories, and he became a projection of those principles as a citizen early on and now in the community that you share with him. Speak, and he was in debate, and that's what you all are about. And I'm kind of intimidated because I was never in such a grand group. Joe, early on in high school, won the state oratorical contest. He was recognized by his senior class as the most talkative. I'll translate that into he was the most articulate, sophisticated in the use of language and words far beyond any one of his peer group. The honor I most cherish, and he was quite matter-of-fact about it, because Joe never relished in the limelight, at least the young Joe that I knew. But he was nominated, he was selected, one of 2 candidates to participate in the William Hearst Foundation U.S. Senate Youth Program in Washington, D.C. And he represented the state of Texas. I'm sorry. I wish he could have represented the state of Texas, because things down there might be a little different. And that was his introduction into government and politics. You all have achieved scholarly awards and achievements, and you have excelled in your academic life and in your station in life. Joe did too, and the Joe I knew, I took great pride. I was just the year younger sister, but I was so proud. Mr. Buell is here today, and he was Joe's government teacher, and he reminded me, but I already had it in here, that Joe was one of the few in the entire country that scored an 800 on the SAT math, and I'll tell you, he was only a few points away from an 800 in the English too. And I was proud of that. It got him into UVA, sure, he was an Eccles scholar. But I do remember, Mr. Buell, that you wrote a letter of recommendation on behalf of my brother, and I remember that very clearly. I would not have remembered it but for your presence today. And so we are honored, truly, to have someone with us today who helped Joe begin his affiliation with the university. Joe was also voted the most likely to succeed by his senior high school class. And I want to put that in perspective because I came to understand what success really meant. Success isn't your station in life, your income, your level of position. It is doing that you have passion for and that you embrace with commitment and joy. And Joe did that. Whatever Joe did, he was passionate about it. And he embraced it, and he was honorable, and he had integrity. Joe succeeded far beyond any of us, including me, far beyond in my understanding of success. He read. He loved knowledge through books. Joe and I in the summers would compete when we were very young in elementary school. And we would see who could read the most books. And I must admit, perhaps I read one or two more. We were so competitive. But the difference was Joe could remember what he read for a long time. And I was just processing words. Joe evolved and he diversified his interests. Some of you may not know the athlete. Joe Bishop ran track. And I was so proud because up until then I had been the star athlete. I had lettered in all of the sports. But Joe came out one year, he ran track, and I would say to him, because he was not first, not second, and further on down. But I would say to him, Joe, it's great to come in towards the end because then you are challenged to improve. And he liked that concept. He was challenged. He wanted to be better. He wanted to do better. He wanted to see people in his community do better. And so when he challenged you as members of the Republican Party, the Young Americans for Freedom or for the Jefferson Society, then he truly cared. And he was truly committed to you. Joe wasn't just an athlete that year or two. He became a patron and a fan, always came to the sports events, and as I have heard, that pattern has evolved as he has continued with the university today and with the city today. Very involved in the community. He worked construction one year. Again, kind of doesn't fit maybe the mode of the Joe you might have known, with a hard hat, his black glasses and those goggle glass safety glasses, out working really hard. And I'll tell you, I hated it. I hated it almost as much as the spring training for track, because all we could smell in that home was Bengay. From running, from using those muscles, because you know, brain power wasn't lifting and muscle power. He was developing, but he was suffering in pain, and I was glad to see it.